Good evening, it's Sound Fusion Radio. How are you?
Hey, this is Marian.
Hi Marian, how are you? You well?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, very well indeed, thank you. Yes, and lovely to hear your voice.
Lovely to hear you. Is this DJ Glossy?
It's DJ Gloss, yep. And,
okay.
I was just going to ask you, because I noticed you came up with a UK number. Whereabouts in the UK are you?
I'm staying in the Camden area right now.
Wonderful.
And I'm still getting my bearings as to where I am exactly. We got here today, and I haven't really sat down to figure out where I am in terms of geographically speaking. But I think we're in the Camden area.
Wonderful. Well, just round the corner from the Jazz Cafe and Coco, actually.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Exactly.
Yeah, two wonderful venues. And, I like the Jazz Cafe a huge amount. Wonderful. Yeah, it's a great place to go.
So I should check it out.
Yeah, many artists there. Many artists. They have a very up close and friendly kind of environment there. You're almost on top of the stage. It's very nice.
Awesome. I have to check that out.
Yeah, definitely.
Walk over there.
Great stuff. So, I wanted to ask you, really, how it all began with you musically. Tell us your story. Tell us how it all began.
Well, I've always been really in love with music. From a very young age, I was making up songs in my living room and subjecting my brother to being my audience member and and singing. Like I was saying, I was always interested in music from a young age. And when I was around 9, I started kind of drifting off in classes and writing songs instead of paying attention. So at first my parents kind of tried to discipline me, and then my mom asked me to sing the songs for her that I was making, and I sang them for her, and they all had melodies and lyrics and stuff like that, and she was really impressed. So she, from then on, started supporting me as a musician, and they gifted me with a piano when I was 13 and a guitar when I was 14, and I just kind of taught myself, and here we are now, a little bit later, and I've just kept up with it since then.
Well, that sounds really great. Wonderful. So, what are your sort of earliest musical memories? You know, what were the early things you were listening to? What made you creative with music in that way?
Well, when I was young, my first inspiration, my first kind of gateway into singing was listening to Whitney Houston. She, as a vocalist, inspired me. She looked like me, or so I thought as a little girl, and she was the first. And then from then on, my musical taste just kind of branched out and went from very like intense rap music, from being around my older brother like Biggie and early Jay-Z and Nas, to Nirvana. I was very into like grunge in the 90s. Mm-hmm. I really just identified with that style. I'm not really sure why. I think probably because I was one of, if not only in my class, I was the only black girl a lot of times, and I was around people of all different races, and so my musical taste kind of, it fluctuated based on my friends and what their older siblings listened to and stuff like that. So my first musical memories are from like Biggie to Nirvana to Whitney Houston. Sounds like a weird mix, but
well, that's good. No, that's great, because I mean, you can't have too many musical influences, can you? I mean, that's an important thing in any musical career. No matter what genre you actually end up playing yourself. So that's great. So, do you remember your first ever public performance?
I do. Yes. When I was living in a small town in North Carolina in the country called Greensboro during high school, and my first show was at a coffee shop in downtown Greensboro. It was called the Green Bean Cafe, and I just played 3 songs on my guitar, and I played the harmonica along with it, which I still play the harmonica now, but I played it a lot back then, and pretty much all my friends from high school came, and my parents came, and it was very quaint, and that was kind of where it started.
Well, that's wonderful. That's really good. That's absolutely brilliant. So, outside of musical influences, who are your major inspirers, from the point of view of music?
From the point of view of music?
Yeah, so who is your major sort of inspiration, or who were your major inspirations in moving you on in music and getting you going in music and so on?
Yes, well, I always say my father is one of my biggest inspirations, because he has a very classic sort of, I guess, story as an immigrant moving from Ethiopia to America, and he moved to America by himself, and he didn't have any money, and he got a scholarship to go to college, and from there he, carved out a life for himself without any family or any support, really. And I'm so blown away by his story, and it definitely has inspired me to not have excuses and to really push forward in an industry that is pretty intense to make it in, So my relationship with him has definitely propelled me. And then otherwise, I've always, ever since I was little, I think because he also looks like my grandfather, I've always loved Nelson Mandela. I've just looked at him as like a surrogate grandfather across the world. He's a big inspiration to me, and just kind of his perseverance. I'm really into to social justice, and I'm really just intrigued by his story. I read his autobiography when I was, I think, 16, and then I finished it and I opened it and read it again like the same week. So he's a big influence for me. And otherwise, I teach music lessons to little kids, and I always tell my friends who are also musicians, like, I recommend this to every musician as a reminder, like, why we do what we do, and as a reminder that not everything is cutthroat and not everything is competitive, because the little kids just want to have fun, and they just want to learn music in a very pure, wholehearted way. So I definitely am inspired by my students all the time, and they might not know that, but I am.
That's absolutely wonderful. So what are you working on right now in London? What are you in London for?
I'm in London to perform at Coco.
Wonderful.
Yes, I'm performing there on Sunday night, and it's my first show in London. And I'm doing a few other things, like talking to people like you, and I'm seeing the city for the first time. It's been a city that I actually have a song. My biggest song so far is actually a song called "Go to London." So, for my fan base in America, it's a big deal that I've come over here to have my first show. So that's the focal point of it, and otherwise just soaking in the city for more inspiration, basically.
Wonderful. It sounds like a great set of reasons to come to the UK.
Yes.
That's really wonderful. So music-wise, have you got a current album or EP out at the moment?
Yes. I have an EP that's already out. It's been out for a year. It's called Room for Living, and that was my first project, and sort of my my breakout project in terms of making myself known in my city, particularly in Atlanta, Georgia. But it's spread around a healthy amount. And my upcoming project is my first full-length album, and that's called the Radio Flyer LP, and that will be coming out this year. So I'm doing these performances leading up to the release of that album to promote it. But also the Room for Living EP is definitely still available, and that's what you can find if you just kind of Google me or Google Room for Living EP. It will come up.
That's brilliant. Absolutely great. So future events, what are you looking at for that now? Well,
I'm waiting to see the next time that I will be in Europe. I'm here, of course, now. I toured last month in France with Cody Chestnut. So from those two experiences, I'm hopefully going to be back here sooner than later before the album releases to do some more shows. But I'm going back to the States on Monday, and I'm headlining some pretty big shows in Atlanta, and traveling around on a small college tour this season. So I'm going to just be adding more, and we were just kind of meeting with my team over on this side of the pond and figuring out a strategy for when I can come back and be here for a bit longer. So I'll definitely keep you posted.
Wonderful. So when did you arrive then in the UK?
I arrived literally like 4 hours ago, maybe?
4 hours ago, and you're going back Monday. Wow, that is a quick visit.
It is very quick. Unfortunately, I want to stay. I might try to run away and hide somewhere.
Well, there's plenty of places to hide in London. It's not a small place, that's for sure. Some wonderful architecture there too to look at, and some great sightseeing to be done. So
okay, do you have any recommendations? Because I'm going to be exploring tomorrow.
Well, it depends what you like. If you like the sort of more traditional side of things, well, then you've got the Houses of Parliament, Big Ben, Buckingham Palace. You've got the Tower of London, Tower Bridge, to name but a few. And then we could move on to some of the museums. And if none of that's your cup of tea, you've always got the West End. So if you just want to go and do consumer, sort of shopping and checking out places like Harrods and so on, well, then head up west and go and check out some of the loveliest high street shopping there is in the world. So there you go. Okay.
That's a good start.
Well,
I'll definitely just be looking at those stores and not actually participating in buying anything.
Well, I mean, that's your first month sorted out, so there you go.
Right.
No, there's plenty to see in town. There's some nice rides up the river as well, and also some tours around town in open-top double-decker buses, which are quite interesting, and they'll take you around the various sites. So, loads of different things to do. So,
okay, awesome. Yes, I'm sure there's going to be plenty, and it will leave me wanting more still.
So, just from the point of view of what you're working on material-wise at the moment, I mean, have you got a sort of an album coming together? Have you got any plans for some new releases? Tell us about those.
Yes, so I'm working on the first 2 singles that we will be releasing prior to the release of the album, and the first one is actually the title track of the album. It's called Radio Flyer, and I'm really excited about that particular song. It came to me basically after one of my cousins had a wedding, and I was around all of my cousins that I grew up with for a weekend, and it got me feeling very nostalgic and thinking about my childhood. And I wrote the song Radio Flyer about the little red wagon, the Radio Flyer wagon that I used to run away from my neighborhood in. So, so I was notorious for like wanting to run away from home or like escape or go on adventures. I was a very adventurous child. So the song is basically kind of reflecting on the spirit of youth and how as you get older sometimes you may forget that you shouldn't take life so seriously and that you can still just get up and go sometimes and do something that you've never done. So So yes, we're working on the video for that right now, and the music for the album is all complete. So at this point, we're working on just the rollout and getting some more content built up for me, and that should be coming very soon. Like this spring, the video will be coming out, and the single will be coming out. So that's the first one, and the second one is a song called "Give Me the Light," and it kind of has it has a sort of almost reggae feeling to it. It's very acoustic. I play the guitar, so most of my songs are based in the acoustic guitar, but it has a lot of attitude to it, and I'm a rapper as well, so I'm rapping on that song, and it's kind of like my proclamation to the world, like, here I am, get ready, I'm coming. Once you give me the spotlight, you know, I'm not giving it back, basically.
Brilliant. Yep.
So yes, so that's Give Me the Light, and yeah, both of those videos, once they're complete, they'll be released along with the single. So I'm very excited for that.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes.
I read about you that it says that you shouldn't be put in any musical or genre box because you're just very kind of eclectic and move around the genres quite a lot. Would you say that was an accurate description of you? Yeah. I think every time I try to put myself in a box, somebody says something that's opposite of whatever box I attempted to put myself in. So I would say, yes, in a perfect world, I would be genreless. It's a little bit trickier than I thought, actually, being genreless, because people really, that's how a lot of people identify music, and whether or not they'll like it is the genre that it's listed as. But I do think that my music kind of crosses over at least a good 4 genres of music. That's brilliant. So tell me the 4 genres if you can.
Okay, yes. So definitely folk, soul, hip hop, and world. Those Wonderful. Are the 4 that I would give, yes.
That sounds really great. Wonderful. Okay, I was just going to ask you, now that we've got the drop, if you could point our listeners at your social media, where to buy your music, where to find you on Twitter and Facebook, etc., etc.
Yes. All that stuff is the same. So it's kind of simple in that way, but then it's kind of complicated just because my name seems to kind of get people a little tongue-tied. So my name is Marian Mereba. That's spelled Marian Mereba. And if you type that into Facebook, into Twitter, it's just at Marian Mereba. Instagram is at Marian Mereba. They're all the same.
Wonderful. That's absolutely great. And if there's anything else you'd like to say to our listeners worldwide and in the UK right now, then feel free to do so.
Well, I look forward to meeting all of you guys, and I look forward to connecting with you through my music, and I thank you for allowing me to be on your program.
Never a problem. It's an absolute pleasure, and it's been lovely to speak to you. And
Same here.
I hope you have a really nice Friday, and stay in touch. So when you've got things you're releasing or stuff coming out and you'd like us to get behind it, then of course just give us a shout, and we can talk again. And lovely, all of that kind of stuff.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
No problem at all. It's been an absolute pleasure, Marian, and hopefully speak soon, and have a wonderful gig on Sunday at Coco.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Enjoy to the max, and enjoy the lovely city of London, and hopefully next time you come back you'll get a little bit longer to stay.
Yes, hopefully. Okay.
Have a wonderful evening. You take care.
You too. Have a good weekend.
Thank you now. Cheers now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.